This going live. This is Hannibal, the HannibalTV.com, and I am going to review the Washington Post's article with everything you need to know about the XFL, which starts today, February the 8th, 2020. So I'm going to give you the information I found interesting about this as a not too huge football fan who is a pro wrestling fan and interested in the NFL, XFL, because of its relationship to Vince McMahon, who owns both the WWE and XFL. So, by the way, the X in the XFL just stands for X, doesn't stand for anything, apparently, according to this article. How much will XFL players get paid? They will start at about $55,000 per season, with the highest salary being $257,000. Compare that to the CFL. The highest paid player makes $725,000 Canadian, which is about $544,672 approximately American. So the maximum salary in XFL is about half of what the maximum salary in the CFL is. The minimum salary in XFL is $55,000 compared to $54,000 in the CFL, and the conversion rate is $40,568.72 American. So the lowest paid player in the CFL is actually making about $15,000 less than the lowest paid player in the XFL. How many games will XFL teams play? They will be on a 10-game schedule with 5 home games and 5 on the road. There's no bye week. The 2 top teams in each division will face each other in a 1-game division championship on the weekend of April 18th and 19th, with the league championship game April 26th, which brings us to the teams. There's going to be 8 teams in 2020 divided into 2 divisions. I'm going to go through the teams, their home field, and the home field capacities now for those that are interested in that side of it. The capacities of the stadiums vary greatly. There's the Dallas Renegades, who play at Globe Life Park in Arlington, Texas. It holds 49,115 fans. The DC Defenders will play at Audi Field in Washington, D.C. It only holds 20,000. That is the smallest of all the stadiums in the XFL. Houston Roughnecks, TDECU Stadium in Houston, that holds 40,000. Texas is huge for football. That'll be interesting to see how the Houston team is supported. And isn't that where Booker T lives? I wonder if he's going to make it out to any games. The Los Angeles Wildcats are going to play at Dignity Health Sports Park in Carson, California, the town in California where the New Japan Pro Wrestling LA dojo is, that I trained at. Had a lot of fun there. That stadium holds 27,000. So another one of the smaller stadiums. The New York Guardians play in the biggest stadium, MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, 82,500 fans. They've actually held 2 WrestleManias in that stadium, so you'd think there'd be a lot of wrestling fans in that area. St. Louis, another wrestling city, has the Battlehawks. They're going to play at the Dome at America Center, which holds 66,965. There's a Seattle Dragons. They play at Century Link Field. 72,000 fans it holds. Tampa Bay Vipers play at the Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. 65,890 fans that stadium can hold. Lots of wrestlers live in Tampa. And of course, the WWE Performance Center is based in Florida. So it'll be interesting to see how Tampa supports their team and if there's any games going on WrestleMania weekend there in early April. You would think wrestling fans from other countries would probably want to test out the XFL, even though they say it's going to be different, completely different than the first time. Vince McMahon still technically runs both companies if you look at it. So he's going to be stretched thin, probably giving less attention to WWE, because I can only imagine, just look at those stadium sizes. They with WWE's attendance decline, there'll probably be more fans actually attending XFL games in that period of time during the XFL season than there will be at WWE events. They're rarely doing house shows right now. They are getting decent crowds and actually some really great SmackDown TV taping crowds over the 10,000 mark. Raw, it's usually under 10,000. And house shows are around 5,000 average fans when they do them. So I think that XFL will probably outdraw WWE for sure during that period of time as far as fans attending events, even though WrestleMania will be in that block of time. So from all the wrestlers I've done shoot interviews with, including Psycho Sid, Kevin Sullivan, who I posted a Twitter clip about the XFL at my Devon Hannibal Twitter account. There's many others I've asked about the XFL. You could just search XFL, the Hannibal TV, to see those clips. But overall, they didn't think the XFL stood much of a chance. I believe the XFL football players are going to be considered employees too, where wrestlers are still considered independent contractors in the WWE. So obviously, there's always going to be some jealousy with the XFL and the WWE. So they might be a little bit biased. Who knows? I don't have any predictions on how they're going to do. I don't know much about football. My high school had a rugby team, and I amateur wrestled. And I did have 2 CFL tryouts for the Ottawa Red Blacks, one in Ottawa and one at Princeton. But the thing is, I never actually played football. And I really actually loved the Princeton tryout better than the Ottawa one because there was contact in the Princeton tryout. And I felt that even though I never played football, I felt that I was doing pretty good against college players considering. But what I was told out of those tryouts was I need to go and play for some team for a year and get game tape, which I wasn't interested in doing, but I had a lot of fun at those tryouts. So that's my knowledge of football. Sorry, I am going to report on the football news, though. I obviously won't be able to really break down games because I've never myself played a football game. I have watched CFL games over the years, and I do follow the NFL. More people follow the NFL than the CFL in Canada overall, I would say. MC says he's excited to watch the replacements. MC says CFL won't be happy. Ragnall Y says, will Billy Jack be in the XFL? Flick, Cuban Entertainment. I love Hannibal TV. Thank you, my man. You always represent us on Twitter. Cause some people to hate us even more, but that's fine. But I'm looking forward to the XFL and seeing how it'll do. For the CFL, just some wrestlers that have been in the CFL. Superstar Billy Graham, former WWE champion, WWE Hall of Famer. Lex Luger, the total package, played for the Montreal Alouettes Angelo Mosca played for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, very famous in that city, and many more. I believe Hacksaw Jim Duggan played, I'm going to say it was the Argonauts, but I'm not 100% sure. But Duggan played. Brock Lesnar, for those that don't know, after he was cut from the NFL, he was actually offered a position on the Winnipeg football team in the CFL. But obviously, I just read you the CFL salary cap now. This would have been about 10 or more years ago. He could make a lot more doing what he's doing in WWE, and in the UFC, he made more than he would have made in the CFL. So good choice for him. Glen Coca, that's the last guy I'll mention. I hope to get a shoot interview with him soon. He is a former CFL star that was going to be a star in the WWE, but got derailed. Bret Hart got him a contract. He's from the town I'm in. He also dabbled in MMA, but they did use him. He defeated Edge on the Raw taping the night after the Survivor Series in Raw, and it looked like the sky was the limit for him, but for whatever reason, he got derailed. Rod Zor says Pillman played for the Calgary Stampeders, and who could forget The Rock also was on the Stampeders. I believe practice squad, but that's still technically playing for the Stampeders. And if it wasn't for his bad experience in Calgary, he never would have quit football and got into wrestling. Just kidding. But Tito Santana, Sandevil reminds me too. Tito Santana, I did an interview with him a couple months ago on the Hannibal TV that you can look up on this channel. And he talked about his time for the BC Lions. So there is a wrestling and football connection. I'm not going to answer the wrestling questions on here, people, just because I'm going to keep football as its own update. I'm not going to cross over it with wrestling. So just to warn all of you wrestling or MMA fans, because I do mix wrestling and MMA, I'm not going to talk about pro wrestling other than pro wrestling people that appear in the XFL's business when I do XFL updates. So have a good weekend, everybody. XFL starts today. I will probably watch the highlights, but feel free on this video, comment on it, let me know what you thought.